Hey, Happy New Year. I thought I would begin this new year re-energized and ready to talk about cinematography, about the Alexa, Aries Alexa, their sensor, light meters, lighting, all the fun stuff that I have wanted to learn myself, but I don't have a day job in the movie industry. So to enjoy it, I want to do it myself and then maybe show some of the things that I've learned. But to start, I'm deciding to do something a little different. I also wanted to share some of my other passions, which is I love Apple computers, as many people do. I grew up, I'm a little older than some, and so I got to see Apple evolved from the early 80s all the way through to the 2000s and now to what it's become. And my favorite era is the era right around the cusp of 2000 and just a little bit after, before the iPhone, because it was such a fantastic time to watch. After the iPhone, it just kind of took off. But this was before the iPhone, in the days of the iPod. And this machine here, the iMac G4, represents that time period for me. It was 2002, right when I got married. I was still in college, and this was the computer that was at the university store that I could not afford at all. But today, ironically, I got it for last year for about 150 bucks. What I love about this time period is that it represented kind of the early part of its renaissance, and this was the machine that came into that period of time and was introduced with such fanfare, and it was the iMac G4. It got a new processor, and it was introduced with a new design, and obviously this is a very iconic design. People call it the lampshade design or the sunflower design. I never thought of it that way. I guess I do now that people say it, but to me it was just something very beautiful. So anyway, I wanted to show it off for a few minutes just to show you what it can do, what it did back in the day. Obviously, one of its most, the coolest features is its floating display. And it first came out with a 15-inch display. I got the 17-inch display, but not only can you move it up and down, but you can rotate it. And I think we take this for granted today because no computers, no flat screen, even the iMacs do this anymore. This was the only design that allowed for rotation. So you could literally, move the screen around. How much did people move the screen around? I don't know, but I find it's really convenient to be able to just shift it around a little bit. It came with two kind of proprietary connection speakers, which sound great. I don't know what the brand was, but they sound fantastic, and they came with this computer. And what I love about it too is that at that era, this time period was the period of the iPod and the early gen iPods, which had the actual hard drives in them, not the SD cards. And this one matches perfectly with this machine, and it just looks beautiful. I love it. So you can connect this via FireWire to the back of this iMac, and it automatically launches iTunes, which was the big application back in the day, and you could rip CDs, rip CDs that you purchased, put them all on your iPod, and it was really, truly revolutionary. I don't think we take it for granted now. My kids, for example, don't even think about it, don't even know what an iPod was. But for us, it really was an amazing device. And this was kind of the hub strategy that Steve Jobs talked about, where you connect these digital devices like a camcorder or an iPod or a scanner or what have you, a regular digital camera, and this could be kind of the hub for everything you had. This really was more of a all-in-one machine and not so much connected to the cloud or anything like that. there are some conveniences to that too. But today, it really, I'm not going to lie, the iCloud and those kind of features are really nice, because wherever I take my phone, I've basically got my photo albums and everything else. So real quick, I'll show you, this thing has a slot. One of the things I love is this the CD tray, or the DVD tray or CD-ROM tray that loads up. It's just very seamless and beautiful. Whoops. So I love that about, and you could rip CDs from here and put them on the computer. I have GarageBand up. I can record audio today on this, pristine audio, with any one of my mics that I use. I have an old Duet Apogee that connects via FireWire, and it will record beautiful audio, 8 tracks of audio. I can play guitar, bass, whatever I like. This machine can record it, no problem. What else? Like I said, I've got my iPod connected to this, so I mean, it plays good music. Whatever's on my iPod or whatever is in iTunes, I can play, which is great. I'm a big Police fan, so. But the speakers sound excellent, and it's just a fun machine. Some other things that I've done on this, you can't really browse the internet as much, but when it comes to utilities like, I mean, anything in Microsoft or any of their iLife suite programs that Apple had, like iWeb, iTunes, GarageBand, there's many others, but they all work just seamlessly on this. I think the version of iOS that I have on this is 10.4, which is Tiger. Like I said, the processor that I got for this one is 1.25 gigahertz Power PC G4. I added an extra ½ gigabyte of RAM. I think I can add another ½ gig underneath it if I dig a little deeper, but you can actually change the RAM by flipping this thing over and just taking off the back plate and swap out the RAM. So to add RAM to it, which is really nice. Some of the things you could do with some of these older Macs. If you're into vintage computers at all, this thing, I've also been able to run a version of what's called Basilisk 2. It's basically, it will run an old version of macOS 7. Well, it wasn't OS 7, but it was OS 7. But this was well before Steve Jobs' era, and you could play some of the 90s games. So I can run an emulator in here. Just stop this. Need to open it up. But it will emulate an old Mac, which is really cool because the old Macs have some great software too. So I can play some of their software games and some of the old software that goes with some of the older Macintoshes. So this would be more like 92, 93 era. But as you can see, it's like the old version of the Macintosh that you find with the older computers, which I also love. So I can emulate an older version of a Macintosh on this iMac. You can do that on new iMacs too, but it's cool that you can do it here. What else? I mean, GarageBand is big. Like I said, and here I've been able to, I recorded just a little bit of test audio for me to see if I could record this lavalier on here. I did, it works fine. I decided to just record on a Zoom instead for this recording, but yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. What else? Oh, well, how about I'll grab a camera so you can kind of see around the back end of this thing and enjoy kind of looking at it. That was dumb. How about I'll grab the iPhone and we'll take it around so you can kind of see how this thing was designed. So this is the, I think they call it a cantilever arm, but it is just smooth as you can get. It's such a fine design, and I was lucky enough to get this one. It was just, he kept it in really good shape. So some of the I/O back in 20 years ago, USB, obviously it's still around, but this is the first version, USB 1.0. It was pretty slow. And then what you'll notice here, this symbol here is obviously FireWire. For the younger generation, you might not know what that is, but basically this was Apple's proprietary I/O that they used. These two are FireWire cables. And I've connected my iPod to the one, and then this black one connects to my Duet preamp for my microphone to record. And then it took Ethernet 2, which it is connected to the internet. I'm connected to my network here. And then I've got these speakers here, these proprietary speakers that, that connect in the back here. So just a little bit about this studio here at home. Well, I won't share that. But this was it. This is my homage to a really great machine that I love, and I'm excited to put more to use. If anyone's got any ideas for what they might use it for, or what they use it today for, I'd love to hear it. All right, well, thanks for watching, and we'll try and get these out on a weekly basis, but hopefully you enjoyed this one. See ya.